Welcome to Silverstone. Once a year, this iconic venue stages the world's biggest classic car racing festival, and we're here to bring you all the highlights of the Silverstone Classic 2013. Coming up, my BTCC colleague Tim Harvey is reunited with an old friend. The legendary Porsche 917 is back on track in the Masters sports car race. We have not one but two Formula One races featuring cars from the 60s, 70s and 80s. And I'll be catching up with Mr. Motor Racing himself, Murray Walker. Well, it's not just legendary cars that are here at Silverstone Classic 2013. There are legendary drivers as well, including 3 times World Formula One champion Jackie Stewart. Lovely to see you here. Are you enjoying yourself?
Wonderful. It's great to see such a great collection of cars. Silverstone and the BRDC have done a great job. I don't think I've ever seen so many beautiful cars in all one place.
And one of the themes of this year is obviously a tribute to Jim Clark, a man who you knew very well.
Oh, one of my best friends. We shared an apartment. In fact, John Whitmore here. So John Whitmore had a wee apartment in the West End in Mayfair, and he gave it to Jimmy and I to live in. It was called the Scottish Embassy.
I can only imagine what went on there.
Oh, very badly behaved Jimmy.
Time now to join Jonathan Ledyard for the Jim Clark Trophy race for pre-1966 Grand Prix cars.
This is a standing start, traditional Grand Prix start off the line, and a good start there by Jonathan Hughes. Jason Minshaw in that light blue Brabham BT4 at evidence 2 as they sweep through Abbey. Jason Minshaw threatening then Jonathan Hughes as they come to this tight right-hander through the loop. All the cars safely through. And Minshaw looking good, and Horseman's come through then on the inside of John Harper. But Jason Minshaw's got his braking all wrong at Brooklands. He's got off the track and he's going to lose 2 places. It's nose to tail now with the leader, Jonathan Hughes, in the Cooper well out in front, but Jason Minshaw's got some recovery work to do between the Brabhams and the Lotuses onto the pit straight, and a good move on the inside by John Harper into second place ahead of Peter Horsman, and Jason Minshaw just beginning to run a little bit wide there, and it looked like Andy Middlehurst taking something of a detour. Minshaw tucked in behind, and this could be a chance down Hanger Straight with Hughes, Harper and Minshaw having a look at Horseman. Might go on the inside now, coming through Stowe, and has just to back off, just waiting for his opportunity, you sense. Started on the front row, a lovely drift there, now sizing up the opportunity on the outside, and he's pulled it off. Great move there. First part of the comeback then for Jason Minshaw. Next up, the red Brabham of John Harper, the Brabham BT4. Minshaw and Harper, second and third, and he's having a look now, Minshaw, and this is a great drive. Comes through, so siding his way back up the field, but he's run wide yet again. Can he hold on to that place? He's got the inside line. And he's held off both Harper and Horseman, who was having just a little bit of a look as well, as they go down the Wellington Straight, and still out in front on his own, Jonathan Hughes in the Cooper T53, Jack Brabham, Roy Salvadori, Bruce McLaren, and again Minshaw with the 2 other cars behind him. Harper and Horseman having a look, and that's the end of the day for that Lola Mark III. Barry Cadell, but anything but now for Jason Minshaw, who's got the bit between his teeth, you sense, coming down towards Brooklands and having a look, and you sense this is only a matter of time, almost alongside through Woodcut, and this is where he could come from 4th up into 1st. Has he got the legs? Yes, he has. He's got the lead as well. Great recovery drive. And here's a treat. This is Stephen Bond in the famous Lotus 18, Stirling Moss Grand Prix winner in Monaco 1961, the famous Rob Walker colours. He won't be challenging the leader though. Look at this, it's a wonderful battle though, right to the line between Horseman and Harper. And John Harper's just holding up from Horseman, who's gone spinning. Just couldn't hold it together. Wonderful duel. But the podium place will have gone. How frustrating is that? In the top 4 for so long. And here's a man who's got everything right eventually. It's the comeback man, Jason Minshaw. Started from the front row and wins the race, having dropped down to 4th. It all came good in the end for Jason Minshaw. Victory then for the Brabham BT4 driver. 2 Cooper drivers, Miles Griffiths and Jonathan Hughes next. And Peter Horseman recovering from his spin in 4th. Comfortable though for Minshaw.
Well, you had a few dramas at the start there, but came through to take the win in the end.
Yeah, it didn't make it very easy for myself. The car was having none of the slowing down or turning, so once it decided to play ball, I picked my way through to, I think, second, caught up Jonathan, who was, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds in front, and then I just got my head down, got past him and just set off. I don't know what was going on behind me after that.
The rain has started to fall here at the Silverstone Classic, but the action will be fast and furious as ever. Coming up next, it's the pre-1966 GT cars. So let's go straight over to our commentator, Jonathan Ledyard.
What unkindness of the weather gods served up then. And because of the conditions, because of the rain, this race is going to start behind the safety car, demanding even more of the drivers as they're pushed to the limit. A battle of power and wits, examining every element of a driver's skill set. And it's a huge grid. In fact, it could have been even bigger because this race was massively oversubscribed, which meant the organisers have handpicked the very best of this type of racing cars. Jaguar E-types, Lotus Elans, Cobras, Porsche 911s, there's an E-type going off, MGs, Morgans, all represented. Out in front though, Mike Whittaker, TVR Griffiths, looking good so far. But there's a long way to go, and how miserable are these conditions going to turn, maybe even worse. Careful with Graham Dodd picking his way around in that black E-type, so well known for the likes of Graham Hill and Roy Salvadori. But these skinny tyres in these conditions will demand so much of those piloting them, giving such entertainment to those hardy souls watching. Still Mike Whittaker leads as they make their way along into Copse now. So far it seems only one car has really had problems, and Mike Whittaker there, still in the TVR, doing, oh, spoke too soon. It's Ludovic Caron, who's gone off in the AC Cobra Daytona. He'd been making his way through the field, but just got his braking wrong as he came into Maggots, and he's got a lot of recovery to do. And it's Graham Dodd now in the black E-type who leads. And there's another problem, and there's an unhappy man. That will certainly not polish up, will it? Lars Muller, clash there, the Lotus Elan with the TVR of Malcolm Poole and Rick Bourne. And the safety car is out, understandably. So this is going to be rush hour now in the pits. This is the time to make the change, the one compulsory stop to change driver, but still interestingly enough, look at car 55 there, that's Graham Dodd, the leader, he's staying out. So too the Austin Healey of Martin Hunt and Patrick Blakeney-Edwards. All the other cars, leading contenders, have gone in to change driver. Is this going to pay off? Graham Dodd now getting out, Jason Minshaw getting in, and have they delayed their stop too late? Safety car is in. This is the Austin Healey then, of Martin Hunt and Patrick Blakeney-Edwards. And they're at the mercy of the Pearson brothers. Gary Pearson now waiting, has to judge his move, ready for the overtake as they cross the timing line, and here he goes. Surely this is going to be the move. Austin Healey gobbled up by Jaguar E-type, and this could be it for the rest of the race. John Pearson started, Gary Pearson set to finish. Oh, an action behind. That looks like Sandy Watson going the wrong way. That's not going to get him to the finish on time. Conditions are foul, aren't they? They've got worse. The rain even more torrential. How these cars somehow stay on the racing line and even stay in contention together. We're watching the battle for second now between Simon Hadfield in the black AC Cobra and the TVR of the McInerney brothers, and look at this side by side. They're almost using each other rubber long to make sure they don't go off track, and it's Hadfield coming right on the outside of the loop. An extraordinary manoeuvre, it's pulled him into second place. You can see the spray, the visibility, and that's Sandy Watson again. That's at Copse, and he won't be getting out of there anytime soon. Gary Pearson running a little bit wide. Surely doesn't want to throw this one away right at the death. But Gary Pearson, following the lead set by his brother John, the checkered flag is out if you can see it, and Gary Pearson wins this GT race in appalling conditions. Man and machine come through unscathed. The Pearsons then in first place. Leo Viozides and Simon Hadfield second, Edward Morris third, and Ludovic Caron, good recovery in the AC Cobra Daytona.
Congratulations to you both, proudly clutching the spoils of your victory, and boy, that was a hard-fought victory, wasn't it?
It was unbelievably wet. John did a great job at the start. He sort of worked his way through nearer to the front. He pitted at just the right time, so we got the advantage with the safety car, and after that it was just keep it on the track because it got so wet. It was aquaplaning on the straights, it was aquaplaning through Woodcut. Unbelievable, but great fun. Just
talk us through what it was like at the start, because obviously the race started under the safety car.
Sure, when we were finally good to go, I was feeling terribly brave and I had a really good run. I got about 200 yards and I couldn't see anything at all, so I just backed right off again and just wait. Car was extremely good, very good. We just pressed forward to the front. I knew if we were somewhere in touch with the leaders, then my brother would get the job done, so all went to plan.
After the break, Porsche, Ferrari and Lola do battle in the Masters Sports Car Race. Welcome back to the Silverstone Classic 2013, where the racing is just part of the story. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Porsche 911, and to celebrate that special birthday, the event organisers decided to see if they could set a new world record, 911 911s driving around Silverstone Circuit. They had to close the entry list when it got above 1,000 cars. It's quite some spectacle, isn't it? Behind me is an iconic car, the Porsche 917, and with me is a man who knows a little bit about it because he's won numerous races in it. Five-time Le Mans winner, Derek Bell. It is a special car, isn't it?
It is. Unfortunately, I didn't win Le Mans in that car, but it did win Le Mans in the era that I was in it, and it was just the most amazing experience for me. Of course, it was the first time after Formula One that I did a little of. There you are, find yourself in the world's fastest sports car. We were doing 246 miles an hour down the Mulsanne Straight. Needless to say, it didn't run all through the night, and we had some problems, so I didn't finish my first year with Porsche, but it was an amazing experience to drive such a fast car, and I don't think anybody's been as fast ever since, actually.
What is it with Brits and Le Mans? It's an event that just really strikes a chord with us, isn't it?
Well, I think it goes back to the very beginning, when you realise who was there in the very early days of Le Mans. It was Bentley's, and of course lots of other manufacturers, but Bentley won it 5 times in the 1920s and 30s. So I think we've always had this great feeling for Le Mans, and then Bentley went back in 2003 and won again, and of course the great Jaguar era as well in the 50s. And so you can't get away from it. It's a great race, as they say. Really, it's a British race held in France.
Well, enjoy your day at another classic racing venue here at Silverstone. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Time to join Jonathan Ledgard again for the FIA Masters race for historic sports cars.
Thanks, Louise. Fantastic sight. Silverstone in the sunshine with some of motorsport's most iconic cars. Porsche, Lola, GT40s sweeping through Abbey, all unscathed, and we're looking for some of the finest racing that classic historic sport can produce. 160 miles an hour down Hanger Straight. There's the Porsche 917, one of motorsport's most famous cars, driven at the moment by Gary Pearson, thrusting his way through the early stages, then down towards Brooklands and Woodcote and Luffield. Out in front at the moment, it's Martin O'Connell in the Chevron B19. Through into Copse. This is where we can really see and marvel at these cars. The speeds as they make their way sweeping through Maggots and Beckett and Chapel, and then onto the mighty hanger straight down towards Stowe. Gary Pearson really hounding Leo Vasilidis. The Porsche, one of the fastest cars down the Mulsanne straight, and now down a hanger straight. He's going to have a look maybe on the inside. Gary Pearson in the Porsche coming through on the inside of the Lola, but Vasilidis just moves across, keeps him behind for the moment. And that's a great shame, isn't it? That is a huge shame to lose one of the Ferraris. Jackie Ickx, the 6-time Le Mans winner. But here's Pearson again. The Porsche is not to be denied. It's got ahead of the Lola. Coming through the new part of the Grand Prix track. Smart move there. And there's a bit of damage for the Lola 70 of Steve Allen and David Gathercott. Steve Tandy against Ollie Bryant. 2 single stinters there. And Bryant's just got the edge as they come through Luffield. Gary Pearson will not give up. Oh, there's a problem there. Is that for Grant Tromas and Martin Stretton, the Lola T70? Seems to be backing off, but no holding Pearson, sweeping through Copse, right-handed. The sort of performance that Chris Rea there, the singer, could only dream of in his Elva, number 61. That was the early leader, Martin O'Connell, in the Chevron B19. That's the driver changeover. That's the one compulsory pit stop. Thumbs up. And now Gary Pearson stops. And Carlos Monteverde, the Brazilian, who owns this car and a fleet of others as well, will take over. Expect fireworks. This is a man who really enjoys and loves his racing and puts his heart and soul into it. Leo Vasilidis stops, the owner of the car, and this could be interesting too. Simon Hadfield takes over, serial winner in historic racing, and this could get really interesting now. And there's a problem. That's a spin for the GT40 of Andrew Smith and James Cottingham. And this is Ollie Bryant coming in for his stop in the Lola T70, although remember he's a single stinter, so therefore he'll just get a wash and go. Meanwhile, Simon Hadfield stepping on it now. We'll keep an eye on that Lola T70 because it's gathering pace and this could be a front runner. Unlike Gonthromas, car number 41, the Lola T70, race over. Ollie Bryant just behind Carlos Monteverde. Almost look as if they're going to come to blows. They're sizing each other up and there's a back marker which could cause problems. Monteverde's going left, Bryant's gone the other way, they touched! He's driving like a touring car. That Porsche is worth millions of pounds, it's worth a fortune. He's still unscathed, he's still on track. Seem to misjudge the angles and the pace of the car completely, but at the moment, Simon Hadfield's getting it all right. Still on the road, that Porsche 917. Just about, although going a little bit wide, and now it's going to get close, and that's also close, and that's a touch. And round he goes, Manfredo de Montilera and Navabat. That was surely a driver error, cut across there. But Simon Hadfield making no mistakes at the moment, almost running on rails, you would say, in this Lola T70. Flowing through the corners. And this could get lively, because it's car number 23, which is like a magnet to incident and drama. Wonderful duel now with Steve Tandy, and Tandy's through at the moment. Monteverde will have to wait and bide his time. This is where he got it wrong before. Look at the way he's extracting all he can out of the car. Oh no, that's Ollie Bryant. Something's not right. He was a contender for a podium place, but that's sounding off key, and that's not going to be how he wants to finish this race. But here is our race winner in waiting, Simon Hadfield. Round the final corner, the checkered flag is there, and Simon Hadfield wins in the Lola T70. Confirmation, Steve Tandy in second, and car number 23, Monteverde and Pearson in third.
Simon and Leo, congratulations on another victory. I mean, it was all kicking off behind you, but you look quite serene out front.
Well, yes, we seem to have a good relationship. It's Leo's car and he does all the hard work. I get to do the pretty bit.
So, Leo, you enjoyed yourself out there, I take it?
Absolutely. I always start the races, which is a bit nerve-wracking, but I'm used to it by now. And try to keep the car in touch because usually I'm against the star drivers, and as an amateur I happen to be quick enough, so as a combination with Simon, we had many successes, which we both enjoy very much.
Time to catch up with some of the other racing that's been going on this weekend. Saturday saw Graham and Oliver Bryant take the flag in the Sir Stirling Moss Trophy for Pre-61 sports cars in their Lotus 15. And Leo Voyazides and Simon Hatfield emerged victorious in the Sir John Whitmore Trophy for under 2-litre touring cars. The same duo were on top again in the Transatlantic Touring Car Trophy in their Ford Falcon. The Froilan Gonzalez Trophy for HGPCA Pre-61 Grand Prix cars was won by Julian Bronson in his Scarab Offenhauser, whilst the Peter Gethin Trophy for Formula 5000 and Formula 2 cars was taken in style by Michael Lyons, his Lola T400 a full 31 seconds clear of his nearest rival. Join me after the break when I'll be catching up with the one and only Murray Walker. It is always a huge pleasure to catch up with a man who, for very many people, is the voice of Formula One, and particularly good to see you at the moment, Ryan, because you haven't been very well, have you? How are you?
I'm absolutely fine, Louise. I fell over and broke my pelvis. And I've been tottering around on crutches for 12 weeks, and I've just about got rid of them. I was diagnosed with lymphoma, and I've had the good news that I have not got to have chemotherapy. So I'm not out of the wood, but I can see the sunlit meadows on the horizon.
That's brilliant news, because I know you missed the British Grand Prix, which must be the first time in ever. So fantastic that you've been able to make it up to Silverstone for this event. But you must be like a kid in a sweet shop here, because this is just
this
heaven
is,
for you, isn't it?
Silverstone means a heck of a lot to me, because I was first here in 1948, and I've covered just about everything on wheels since then, and I've seen it grow from a World War II bomber base into the fantastic complex that it is now, with the wing and the revised circuit. But the Silverstone Classic is quite literally unique. There is nothing else like it in the world. I haven't seen a Triumph Stag for years, and I drove in this morning and there were 12 of them lined up.
I look at some of these cars and I think they should be just polished and you know, because they're so beautiful, such classic hill cars. To watch them out being raced and being really raced is fantastic, isn't it?
I would love to own one of these cars and have the facilities and the mechanics and the money and all the rest of it, properly to look after them and to let them be raced. And let them be raced in a situation where, if they're damaged, I've got enough money to put them right again. Because that's what they were designed for, that's what they were built for, and that's what they should be doing. Putting them on a plinth in your drawing room is not the thing to do.
It's so lovely to see you here, Murray. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at some more track action. Sunday saw a comprehensive victory for Callum McLeod's Merlin Mark 20 in the Balvenie Trophy for historic Formula Ford cars, whilst the Peter Arundel Trophy for historic Formula Junior was won by Sam Wilson in his Lotus 20. The RAC Woodcote Trophy for Pre-56 sports cars saw an epic Jaguar battle at the front. Gary and John Pearson in their D-Type, just pipping John Young and Chris Ward in their C-Type. And in the RAC Tourist Trophy for historic Pre-63 GT cars, Gary Pearson won again, this time with Jackie Oliver in their Ferrari 250 SWB. So this is the race that many of the thousands of people here have come to see. It's the FIA Masters Formula One race, and it features some stunning cars from the 1970s and 1980s, a classic era of Formula One that's currently being given the Hollywood treatment in the film Rush. And this is the car that everyone's going to have to beat. It's a 1980s Williams, and it's been driven by Michael Lyons.
And the reason, Louise, they're going to have to try to beat it is because in qualifying, Michael Lyons was more than 2 seconds quicker than the field, and here he is leading them off down towards the first corner at Abbey with that sweet sound of Formula One's most successful engine, the Ford Cosworth DFV. All these cars powered by that famous power plant. and they're being driven like proper Formula One cars, not a museum piece, and there's a field of more than 30 here at Silverstone. Fantastic to see these old cars racing once more on Silverstone, on this new track. These old cars, period cars in their period livery. There's Lyons, Simon Fish in the Ensign, the car of Clay Recordsoni and Steve Hartley just behind, car 31, into Maggots, and Beckett's in the Arrows A4. Another Swiss driver made this car famous, Mark Seurer. Lyons from Fish, from Hartley. And these two are wheel to wheel early on. Arrows against Ensign, coming onto the hanger straight down towards Stowe. Lyons out in front for Williams. This is pretty much like Mansell against Piquet. Hartley going one way, then trying on the inside now. Can he get the inside line? Just held back by Simon Fish. Fantastic racing so far. Lyons may well be out on his own, but there's a wonderful battle behind. The moment Simon Fish in the Ensign is leading just ahead of Steve Hartley, but not for long. There's Hartley once more giving chase along the pit straight now into Abbey, and again the Ensign moves across from the Arrows and holds second place. Michael Lyons on his own, and here's a wonderful sight behind him though, a March followed by a Lotus, followed by a Tyrrell sponsored by Benetton. There's a Shadow in there, also a Tyrrell as well, a blue Tyrrell bringing up the rear. Great to see these cars being worked as they should be and as they were always intended to be. Nose to tail, attacking the circuit here at Silverstone in its new layout. Gripping battle then for 5th place. March followed by Lotus, followed by Tyrrell, followed by Williams, followed by Shadow, followed by Tyrrell. And a move there by Gregory Thornton in the Lotus, but it's countered by Mark Dwyer. Ian Simmons chased by Mike Wrigley in the more familiar liveried Williams. That white car, number 27. Oh, he's got too close. And that front wing is up. And that's real problems for Mike Ridley. Just misjudged his braking. The Shadow goes past and the Tyrrell. And that's a real blow in every sense. And that horrible sinking field as the rest of the field goes past, but that's not deterring Gregory Thornton rather in the Lotus. Through he goes past Mark Dwyer. Michael Lyons still out in front where he's been right from the start of this race, but look at these two, they are inseparable. The Ensign of Simon Fish and the Arrows of Steve Hartley through this wonderful Copse, Maggots, Beckett's Chapel complex. Again, Hartley trying to find a way past and goes through on the inside. Wonderful move. He completely underestimated it then, Simon Fish. Surely wasn't expecting that. Now, what sort of response can we expect? It's bound to be dramatic because these two have served up a real live wire battle right throughout this race. He's having a look now, Simon Fish, but Hartley shuts the door past the back marker. We don't want any incidents to get in the way of this battle, and that's interesting. Car number 14 is Simon Fish, and he's been warned for his driving. The driving standards flag has been shown, and there they go, the two of them together, but he's showing none of it. Look at that. He might have just waved a hanky at him because he's gone through, and Ensign leads the Arrows once more. Simon Fish from Steve Hartley. Surely there's another chapter, another page to be turned in this battle. Michael Lyons is getting very little coverage, very little credit for his performance, but this car is running quite magnificently, just like the car it was intended to be. Because in the days when Rupert Keegan had this car, you could buy a year-old Formula One car, and they've come together. They've come together. The Ensign and the Arrows, Fish and Hartley. And the battle for second has been turned on its head. It's a late replay there to see exactly what happened, but Hartley seemed to misjudge it. All the drama going on behind this man, Michael Lyons, who's done absolutely everything right, and Michael Lyons wins this F1 Masters with a masterclass, quite frankly. And here's a chance to see a beautiful car. Nelson Piquet's Gordon Murray design, Brabham coming through. The BT49C in second place for Joaquin Fonch. Such a simple design, and in the end, such a simple race for Michael Lyons, comprehensively winning by by 20 seconds from Joaquin Folsch, and Williams right in there, filling 3 of the top 4 places. And his prize presented by the Duke of Kent.
Congratulations, Michael. Another race, another winner's garland around your neck.
Yeah, it's fantastic. To get to play with the F1 cars on the big circuit here at Silverstone is just a great opportunity. They're so fast around here, especially through Maggotts and Beckett's, new turn 1. You're not even braking for those corners. You're on the throttle the whole way around.
I'm down in the paddock now with Sabine Schmidt, made famous as the queen of the Nürburgring. But what brings you here to Silverstone?
Yeah, my boyfriend, he bought a new toy, so it's a 962, which we have to race for sure. On the Nürburgring it's a bit difficult, but we start here in Silverstone because it's a proper Grand Prix track, and in 2 weeks' time we go on the Nordschleife with it as well.
Nice boyfriend, because that is a nice toy.
Yeah, he's a good boy. So if you have a look, I mean, it's a proper racing car. You have to shift gears. If you find the correct one, even better, which isn't easy. So I had the first run out yesterday. Very interesting car.
And what do you think of the circuit as well?
Oh yes, it's so busy, so many fans here. You know, all the people like pictures with me. Ah, you beat Jeremy Clarkson. Oh, I said sorry. And,
don't apologise for beating Jeremy Clarkson.
No. So many brilliant cars and drivers, so really good.
After the break, we'll find out how Sabine gets along in the Group C race, plus Tim Harvey rides again in the touring cars.
Welcome back for one of the feature events of the weekend. It's the Group C sports car race. And here's a man who knows a thing or two about these cars, Tiff Liddell, who finished 3rd at Le Mans in 1990.
In one of these, the Porsche 9, this is Group C to me. This wonderful car that got it all going, in 1982. And so I discovered Group C just when I, gave up single-seater racing. And started, 10 years with this magnificent formula. I was so lucky to be part of it. They're just fantastic cars, and Le Mans for 10 years was magnificent.
Do you recognise this?
Well, that's a Nissan, and that's in the Japanese colours. And I raced in Japan a lot. There was a Japanese Group C championship that was almost as competitive as the World Championship. And this was the Nissan factory car that really came strong in the late 80s.
Talking about classic, I mean, look up ahead there. There's a classic British car. This is the Jaguar.
No, wait a minute. Now, you see, this goes too far. You see, this is not, to me, a real Group C car, because in 1991, Bernie Eccleston, jealous of how popular Group C was with the manufacturers, introduced a new 3.5-litre formula, hoping to get the manufacturers to build 3.5-litre engines for Formula One. So behind is Group C, and in front is Bernie's formula that ruined it all.
Time now to join Jonathan Ledgard for the best of the Group C endurance race.
And it's go in this endurance race. Look out for that car number 8, the Jaguar XJR14, a multiple winner in single-seaters and sports cars, Nicholas Manassian. He is likely to be the front runner, the man the rest have to chase and catch. Some famous cars, some famous names. Look out for Gareth Evans and Bob Berridge in the Mercedes C12. The Nissans of Steve Candy and Katsu Kubata. But it's Manassian in that famous Jaguar, already starting to pull away for the rest of the field. Class of the field with Ross Brawn and Tom Walkinshaw pulling the strings at the World Sports Car Championship in 1991. And 23 years on this same car with the car and driver combination in this race, the lap record could go, because Manassian is that quick. Car number 25, Katsu Kubata, the Nissan R90, Steve Tandy in the yellow Nissan R90. And that's Kubata coming through on the inside of Gareth Evans. Here's Manassian stopping now. He'll be staying to do a single stint, no driver change. And there is Sabine Schmidt waiting for her pit stop changeover. Her boyfriend, Klaus Abalan, is driving that black Porsche 962, but he's under pressure from another Porsche as well, another 962. They're coming up to Village. It's a right-hander. Oh, and this come together. There was never really a chance there. That's Christophe Donsenberg, the Belgian. And both could be out of the race. And he is going to stop, it seems. Damage certainly to the front left. But what about Abalan? Is Sabine actually going to get in the car? She's queen of the Nürburgring, and she put Jeremy Clarkson in his place. But is she going to have her place in the sunshine at Silverstone? Because that car, that Porsche, is not looking good, and she's looking concerned. Let's see it again. That seemed an impossible dive down the inside by the Belgians there. Christophe Donsenberg. There was not a way through. And that doesn't seem like a man in a hurry, does it? And the hand signals suggest it's all over. Contrast her emotions with those of Nicolas Manassian. He's just set a new lap record. He's beaten it, 136.712, an average of more than 122 miles an hour. And here is Abelin. He is not happy. He wants a bit of action, and it's not involving a car. He wants to have a word with Christophe Donsenberg, you'd have thought. It's a race over, a race ruined, and a day spoiled. And she knows it too. Denied her chance in the sunshine. Here's Katsu Kubota, and he's slowing. And he's losing second place. And that confirms it, that puff of smoke, that car is not good. And here comes Manassian, absolutely cream of the crop, class of the field. Manassian comes through and wins by a country mile. And here's the evidence. Jaguar out in front. Gareth Evans second for the Mercedes and Steve Tandy third. But that's not the main talking point.
You looked a little bit angry about the crash.
I am angry. And I hope this guy comes and excuses himself, otherwise I'm going to meet him.
And as you said, you're angry because you didn't even get to go out and play, did you?
Yeah, I was there prepared with my little seat, and I said I couldn't wait to get into the car, and then he came, and one tire was up the ground this high, so that doesn't look like the racing car. Okay, took my helmet off.
So basically your boyfriend went to play with the toy and he broke it.
Next time I'm gonna do the start, then I have some fun as well.
It's time for the Super Touring Car Trophy, and the 1992 British Touring Car Champion Tim Harvey rides again. So what's it like getting back in the car?
Well, the car I'm driving, an RS500, last of the Group A cars, classic car. I haven't driven the car for 23 years. It's an absolute time warp because the car is identical to when I stepped out of it, literally at the last race here in 1990. And I have to say, you know, as a child, the smells and things that you remember, it all came flooding back as soon as I pressed the starter button, and it's absolutely fantastic.
So this is one event I'm really looking forward to, the Super Touring Car Trophy. Keep an eye out for the bloke in car number 3.
This should be fun. Get set for fireworks. All eyes then on Tim Harvey, car number 3, centre stage in the blue RS500, the Ford Sierra, as he leads them off through Abbey into these first sweeping corners. He didn't win the championship in this car. It's his first time, as he was saying, for 23 years that he's sitting in the car. How will the engine take it? How strong is this car? How strong are his racing instincts maybe as well? He leads at the moment. Tim Harvey on a favourite stomping ground. But there are plenty of cars waiting to gobble him up to cause him problems. This is a great year for the British Touring Car Championship. Ford there, that's not so special for the Jaguar XJS, that's Richard Masters, number 31. Still the way forward, pointed by Tim Harvey, chased by Patrick Watts in the Peugeot 406. Neil Smith just behind in the Alpha. Oh, and he's had to slow down, and that's why. And off goes Watts, and that's a mighty incident. A big impact at 100 miles an hour or so. You hope Patrick Watts is all right. The car is clearly going to need a lot of repairs. But out on track at the moment, Tim Harvey's got his hands full of Neil Smith, who's coming down on the inside, and he's taken Harvey. No real response, not able to respond really. And Neil Smith takes the lead now, and Harvey could just begin to drop back into the clutches of Stewart White in the Honda Accord. There is Patrick Watts. A relief to see him move away, and he can continue to watch this race as Harvey now is falling into the hands of Stewart White in the Honda Accord, and Frank Raffel in the Vauxhall Cavalier just behind as well. Past he goes, Stewart White now sizing up a move on Neil Smith. Tim Harvey dropping back. And Stewart is really wringing the neck of this Honda. And it can't be too long before Frank Rathell's right behind Tim Harvey, giving it loads around that corner. Rathell almost going off. Oh, and Alvin Powell's gone off there, the Ford Mondeo. Under braking, got it wrong. Damage to the rear of the car as well. Frank Rathell now giving chase, coming out of Chapel, down the hanger straight. Tim Harvey falling into the clutches of a current BTCC star, and now he'd like to overtake a current BTCC commentator, perhaps. Show the old fox a few tricks, and he's through on the inside, and it's as if almost Tim Harvey realises that his car just doesn't have what it takes. Discretion, the better part of valour. It could still be a podium, as Frank Rathell looks as if he's pushing for maybe even a victory, depending on what happens up ahead between Stewart White and Neil Smith. And here the two are, and look at the ground that White's made up on Smith. Honda now chasing after him, coming through on the inside, and he's got it as well. Great performance there, but back comes Smith. This is top stuff from the touring car race, and still Frank Rathell is on the charge as well. Smith, though, will not give up. Can he find a way past? White will be wary. Smith, though, will be ready as well. Tim Harvey continues almost on his own now, really, in fourth place at the moment. But these two are still at it. Bodywork maybe swinging from the rear of White's Honda. And Neil Smith will try to extract every last drop of performance. Down the Wellington straight. There's Brooklands up ahead. The Alpha's diving through on the inside of the Honda. And he's got it all wrong. He was turning even before he managed to get to the corner. Both cars are off. Now, can either of them get back on, or both of them even? White's okay. Seemingly Smith is recovering as well. And that's justice, really, because White was unfortunate that he was pretty much taken off by Neil Smith in the Alpha. And now Frank Rathell is right behind. He was turning, wasn't he, before he got to Brooklands. He collected White, who moved quickly to reassert himself and continue in the race. So Stewart White continues to lead from Neil Smith, and White's gone off again. White's gone off of his own accord, and the Alpha now is through into the lead with Frank Rathell just behind, and now Rathell has a chance of winning this race. Extraordinary. Stewart White is out of the race. Neil Smith, though, can take this to the finish. Rathell will push him all the way, trying on the inside line. The checkered flag is waiting, and just across the line by barely a car length is Neil Smith, and Tim Harvey does indeed get his podium in third. What a finish.
I have to say, that was an absolutely brilliant race to watch. Fun to take part in as well, I would imagine.
It was absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I mean, unfortunately, I had to back off massively early because the engine was overheating. And
that's his excuse.
Yeah, trust me, I could have shown you a few things.
Well, you were kind of punching above your car's weight for a while at the beginning. I mean, leading the race for quite a while, weren't you?
Yeah, I don't think a Group A of Cozzi's led one of these races before, so that was quite nice. And honestly, if I could have kept going that hard with the car, I'm pretty sure I could have done it. But you know, it's the original 1990 engine, so I didn't really want to lunch it, although it did go on the end. But I had a bit of a half lap, just showing Frank a few power slides.
And how did it feel, Frank, when you just, look, I won't say cruise past, that'd be too much, but when you got past Mr. Harvey here?
I gave it to him.
To be fair, he did.
No, don't say that.
When I cut him up, I thought, oh, yeah, good, he's slowing down for me. We can have a bit of a battle, but I didn't expect it. After the first few laps, I was really fighting the car, and Tim was gone up the road, and so were a few others, and I thought, if I can just keep my tyres in good shape, get back onto the podium, and then, yeah, they came together, and we nearly ended up on the top step.
The drama didn't stop there, as Neil Smith was later excluded for his move on Stewart White's Honda. That promoted Frank Rathell to first, with Tim Harvey second and Craig Davies third.
Unfortunately, that is it from Silverstone Classic 2013. The world's biggest classic car motor racing festival will be back next year, and I will see you soon.